Hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar all about DataGrid filters. Now, filters are possibly the most important and useful feature in your platform DataGrids. They support a wide range of tasks, from finding a specific customer to email them, or finding all of your delegates that are currently on a waiting list, through to really complex data refining and analyzing. So whether you're sorting through your data, focusing on specific criteria, reporting on numbers, or looking for trends, DataGrid filters are how you do all of that from your data grids. Now, we do have a range of people on this webinar. So some of you have been working with filters for years, so you've got a really strong bank of go-to filters that you're using every day. We've also got some people that are still quite new to Access Planet, are still getting through that phase of learning what you'd like to filter on. So we're going to do our best today to try and cater for both groups of admins as much as possible. We're going to be going over a lot of filters in this session, so it might feel like quite fast-paced, but this session is being recorded, and then what we're going to do with the recording on YouTube is create chapters for each of the filters, so you can just jump through the recording to the relevant filters that you're interested in, rather than having to watch the whole thing end to end all over again. As usual, we're going to kick off with some introductions. So who are we? So I'm Jenna, I'm Access Planet's Customer Education Manager, and my role is all about making sure that we provide useful educational materials about the Access Planet platform, like this webinar, to you and your team, like kind of at the right points to help you get the most out of your platform. And I'll pass over to Frank.
Thanks, Jenna. And I'm Frank. I joined the Access Planet team in October. I'm one of the optimised customer success managers here. As an optimised CSM, one of my main roles is working with Access Planet admins to help optimise their processes using the platform and to help you get as much return on investment as possible. Let's have a look at the agenda for this session. So we're going to look at two main areas today. First will be filtering the delegates data grids. The second will be the course data grids. Then we're going to look at how you can filter data grids to focus on items that you've been working on. We'll wrap up with some top tips to help you get the most out of your data grids filters.
Yeah, nice. So starting with those delegate data grids, before we get into our must-have list for today, we're going to have a really quick just overview of the really common filters that we recommend everyone has in place. So this will be a quick whistle-stop tour of some common ones. So of course, starting in the smart grid, we're going to use the classroom delegates one. So open up that smart grid where all the delegates are. Obviously, your filters all live inside this filters bar. The most common types of delegate filters we see are status-based. So this is only booked delegates. And if we just double click on it to edit it, we can see it's just got one filter condition. Status is in booked, showing us just booked delegates. Then you can build the same thing for just showing transferred delegates, and the same for just seeing waiting list delegates. Just status is in, and then whatever status you'd like. We also recommend date-based filters. So a really common one is looking at just delegates that are booked onto courses running in the future. So course start date is in the future. And then another one we see a lot of is booked today. So just delegates that are added to a course today. We don't have any, but that's fine. And that's just date registered period today. And then again, you just double click any of those filters to see their settings. So that was quite quick. That's just an overview of the really common ones we see. We'll take a little bit more time going through our must-have list. So I'll pass over to Frank for our first one of those.
So first must-have filter is to find all the delegates who are on the waiting list on a course that is running in the future, where that course now has spaces available. This filter is great for keeping a close eye on your waiting list delegates to see if they can be promoted to booked, because the space has been freed up on their course. Here we can see two delegates, Madeline and Lorette, that have a status of waiting list on a future course. The mental wellbeing course has 8 spaces left, and the yoga course has 1 place left. This filter provides us with a list of delegates that we can get in touch with to see if we can promote them to booked. This is a must if you're offering waiting list bookings, as it means you can stay on top of available places that may crop up from cancellation or transfers. So how do we get this list? So staying in the delegate smart grid, unapply any existing filters. and then create a new filter. So the first condition will be the status is in and waiting list. Select that. And then the second one will be spaces left greater than or equal to 1. And then the third and final condition, courses start date, and then the period in the future. This will filter the data grid to only show waiting list delegates on courses with one or more spaces on it that run in the future. So you can preview the filter, and then once you've done that, name it and save it so you can use it again in the future.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Okay, so our next filter is one to show us all delegates that are on past courses that haven't had their attendance marked yet. So, for example, they still have the status of booked despite their course being in the past. This filter is really good if you're trying to stay on top of that course admin, making sure certificates, survey links have gone out, no attend emails, that kind of thing. They've all gone out as soon as possible after your course is run. So here we can see a bunch of example delegates that are on past courses that are still marked as booked. So all these start dates on here, mental wellbeing, first aid at work, they've all happened now, but these delegates still haven't had their attendance marked. So how can we get this list? So from the delegate smart grid again, of course, create a new filter, and this one's going to have 2 conditions. The first one is that the end date is now in the past. So course end date period past. And the second one is that the delegate is still booked or in progress. So their status is in booked or in progress. And then if we just preview that, here we can see our delegates that need their attendance marking. You might want to sort this data grid so you've got your oldest ones at the top. So just click on the end date to sort, or apply a more permanent sort that'll be remembered next time you open the data grid from the data grid column selector here. So there we go. Of course, if you want to use this filter again, give it a name. We've gone with historical delegates not completed. Save that and it'll be available for you next time.
The next data grid filter is to find all delegates that are booked as a part of a placeholder. You may be looking for every delegate on a specific placeholder, like this example here where we're looking at every delegate booked on as a part of the Adams Inc. placeholder on the mental wellbeing course. Or you may be looking to view every delegate on any placeholder. So back in the delegate smart grid, let's create a new filter. If we want to see every delegate booked onto a placeholder, so the placeholder ID is not empty, and then preview it. Here we can now see every delegate on placeholder bookings. If we want to see delegates bookings part of a specific placeholder, we'll change our filter to instead be placeholder ID is in and select the relevant placeholder. And then if this is a filter you want to use again, then again, of course, save it and name it.
Nice. So next we're going to have a look at how you can filter your delegates data grid to get a list of every delegate that hasn't been invoiced yet. So filtering on the presence or the status of your delegate invoices is often really helpful to help with finance processes, making sure everyone's been invoiced or making sure that everyone has paid. It can be a really huge help for getting those like payment reminder emails out with really minimal effort. So with this filter that we're looking at on screen, we're currently looking at all classroom delegates that don't have an invoice. So the invoice is empty, there's no invoice yet, that have the status of completed, in progress or booked. So we're only looking for people here who are going to attend the course or have attended. Of course, you could change that filter if you'd like to include others as well. And the start date is running in the next 30 days. Again, you could run this by start date is in the past, or start date is in the future, whatever makes sense to you. But yeah, we're going to be looking for everyone that's not been invoiced on a course in the next 30 days. So let's build it. So again, delegate smart grid, go and create a new filter. And then we're going to put in those 3 criteria. So first thing, invoice status is empty. There is no invoice yet. Next one is what's the date range of the courses that we're interested in. This could also be date registered if you're looking for when people were added to the course. We're looking for delegates booked on courses running in the next 30 days. And then finally, we've added an extra filter in to look for only delegates that are due to attend or have attended. So status is in progress, booked, or completed. And if we just give that a preview, we'll see how that looks. There we go. All these people need an invoice, as you can see. Now, if instead we wanted to look at delegates that have attended their course but haven't paid yet, they've been invoiced but haven't paid, we would look at instead the invoice status is unpaid, outstanding, or part completed, and the start date of the course is in the past. So we'll preview that. So here's everyone who's attended their course and doesn't have a completed invoice yet, still outstanding or part completed. And then again, if this is a filter you would use in the future, give it a name, hit save, and it'll be there for you next time.
The final delegate filter we'll cover today is how to view all delegates that relate to a transfer. This includes the delegates that have been marked as transferred and also includes the new delegate that's created as part of the transfer. We called it transfer delegate. Let's look at how it has been built. This filter is made up of two conditions. Transferred from ID is not empty. This means they're transferred from another course onto this course. Or transferred to ID is not empty. This means they have been transferred to another course. We have the any toggle in place, so delegates will show up when they meet either of these conditions. So for example, we can see that Abby transferred from the safety at Heights on the 8th of December to the first aid at work on the 5th of December. Both of Abby's delegates that were involved in his transfer will be included with this filter.
Nice, I like that one. Okay, moving on to the courses data grids. So similarly, we'll start with a quick whistle-stop tour of some really common filters that we see before we move into our must-have list. So in the same style as delegates, we encourage status filters for courses. So we've got available, cancelled, and fully booked here. And again, these are simple ones. They are just one condition only. They are just status is in, and then select your status. Let's have a look at the fully booked one. Course status is in, fully booked. Really easy, one condition on there. In addition to the status ones, we also see date range ones here too. So starts this week, starts in the next 14 days. So if we just take that, starts in the next 14 days, just start date, period, and then this one is next 14 days. It could be 30 days, could be future, whatever makes sense to you guys. And then what else we see is the advertised versus not advertised. So again, those are quite simple ones. Just advertised is equal to yes or no. And that just gives you a good handle on what you've got on your website versus what's not on your website yet. So let's have a look at our must-have picks for courses.
Thanks, Jenna. This next filter is really helpful if you process a lot of bookings on behalf of customers. If you're taking customer calls and you need to be able to find out what courses you have available quickly. This filter shows us only courses that are in the future, available, spaces left, and are advertised. Let's build it. So on the courses data grid, let's add a new filter. So the first condition will be spaces left greater than or equals to 1. Then we're going to add the start date, the period, and then set that as the future. Then the course status is available. And then finally, let's advertise equal to yes. So this filter will filter out any courses you're hidden from your website. And then again, just preview it, name it, and then you can save it. We've named it available to book on this one.
Yeah, we see that one a lot used by, especially when they've got like big training teams where they need to quickly find what courses can be booked or on the phone a lot. This one's a good one. Okay, this next one's really handy if you're responsible for your upcoming courses, having a trainer, venue, and any other resources that they might need to run. So you can always combine this filter as well with courses running in the next 30 days, for example. It would give you that go-to list of all your upcoming courses that are missing a key resource that they need to run. So we've called this one missing resources. and it checks a few different resource settings on your courses. So here it is, missing resources. If we just double click it to edit it, have a look at how it's been put together. So it's going to show us any courses where the venue ID is empty, or the trainer ID is empty, or there's one or more resource requirements not met. That all is controlled again by the any all kind of toggle button there. So whenever any of these conditions are met, the filter will include the course. So here we have trainers, but we don't have a venue. Then in the Eating for Wellbeing, we don't have a trainer, but we do have a venue. And then this mental wellbeing course, we have a trainer and a venue, but we're missing one resource requirement. So that's our missing resources. It'll include any courses that are missing a trainer or a venue, or have at least one resource requirement not met.
This next one is really helpful if you run a lot of multi-part sessional courses. It's to view sessional courses and their sessions. This sessional and sessions filter includes all sessional courses and their sessions. Oh, that's a mouthful. We have this data grid set up to then sort the courses based on the parent course ID and by start date. So that means we have the parent sessional courses listed at the bottom. They're there for reference. Then above them, we have the sessions for each grouped together in start date order. So for example, for our gardening package, you can see we have level 1 running on the 23rd of April, level 2 on the 24th of April. Above that, we have the first aid at work package, which is 3 sessions running on the 21st, 22nd and 23rd of July. This filter is super easy to create. There are only 2 conditions. So that's the parent course ID is not empty. So the course has a parent, so it is a session. And sessional equals to yes. So it is a sessional course. The toggle is set to any, which means that we will include any courses that are sessional and any courses that are sessional. Sorry, any courses that are a session and any courses that are sessional.
Yes.
Too many sessions and sessionals.
Nice, thanks, Frank. That one, actually, I use that a lot. So we run multi-part masterclass courses on things like report writer and workflows and things like that. So that session I use a lot to keep an eye on when everyone's sessions are running, how far through, how much progress people are making, how far through each group is. So yeah, that's a good one for me. This next one, similar, it's also about sessional courses, but this time though, we're looking at hiding away any sessions from the data grid so we can focus on those like bookable courses. So with this one, we've just called it hide sessions, and it's made up of just one condition, and that's the parent course IDs is empty. So it means that it will only show courses that don't have a parent, therefore hiding any sessions. So with this filter in place, I can still see the sessional courses. So my first aid at work package that we've got on the 27th of October and the 21st of July, those are still displayed. So sessional courses still included. And also my non-sessional courses are still in here. So my Eating for Wellbeing, that's a non-sessional course, that's still displayed too. But the individual sessions themselves are hidden. So we're just really focused on courses that you can book.
A final filter for courses is a check on your upcoming courses that they are making a high enough level of profit. Identifying courses that aren't making enough profit means you can either look to cancel them, market them more to push for more bookings. So without a filter, you can keep a track of this using the profitability forecast column to get an idea of the expected profit for your upcoming courses. But you can reduce the chance of missing one by adding a filter. In this example, we're looking for courses that have an expected profit of under £100, and we've combined this filter with another that looks for courses running the next 30 days. There's one course that is actually making a £60 loss. This filter is quite a simple one too. Just one filter condition of profitability forecast less than or equals to 100. You would just set it there. You just set there what your minimum profit target for each course is.
All right, so that's it for courses and delegates. Let's move on to looking at how we can use DataGrid filters to help you find the items in the platform that you have been working on. So your stuff, really.
Yes, these are the 4 types of filters you can build. Items that you created, items that were created in a certain date range, items where you were the last person to make changes to it, and items that have been changed in a certain date range.
Now, the first example we're going to look at are finding courses where you were the person who created them. And this filter can be really helpful if you're trying to find a specific course that you just know you created, but maybe you can't quite remember what you called it, when it is, who it's for. It just whittles down your courses data grid to just the courses that you have made. So here it is. So here we have we've called it courses created by me, and I can see all the courses that I have added into the platform, or in this case, it's Tom Smith, who's the person who created them. We've also added in the date created column into the data grid, so we can sort on that as well. Order the list by date created. So courses created by me, really simple filter. It's just one condition created by ID is me. And that's all there is to it. But you can also set this filter up in a bunch of different data grids. There's the option there. So you can add it into the users data grid, the resources data grid. We've got it created by me, and also the invoices data grid as well, created by me. Lovely.
Following on from that, you can also filter on the dates that your items were created. So if you know you scheduled a course last week, for example, you can apply the filter. So date created, period, and last week. And this will only show you courses that were created in the previous week.
So in addition to created, you can also use DataGrid filters to get a list of items where you were the last person to make changes. So this can be really helpful if you want to get a view of everything that you've worked on today. Just a quick note on it though, this might not be very helpful if you've got a really large team, where multiple people are making updates to the same courses, because the option that we're going to filter on only shows us the last person to make changes. But if you've got a fairly small team, or you don't have a lot of overlap of different people editing the same items, this one might be really useful for you. So in this example, we're filtering the courses data grid to only see courses where I was the last person to update it and the updates happened today. So we just called this My Updates Today. And that's been put together with 2 conditions. So the last updated was in period today. So we made our changes to it today. And updated by ID is me. So with this filter in place, the class courses data grid is only going to show me my courses that I've worked on today. Great. It can be really helpful if I want to make corrections to things that I've worked on, or I need a little memory jog of the courses that I've been looking at today. But of course, you could build this filter differently. So you could have the last updated range set to everything you updated yesterday or last week. Or you're updated by ID, instead of selecting yourself, you'd be able to choose another admin if you want to see what courses they've been working on today. Yeah, so that's a really useful one.
We're going to wrap up with some top tips to getting the most out of your data grid filters. There are 4 things for us to show you here. Quick reminder about the any all data grid filters, a recommendation from us about using filter combos, how to hide away any filters that you don't use very often, and finally, how to share your filters with your team.
Now, we mentioned the all any toggle earlier with a couple of the filters that we talked about, including that missing resources filter for courses. But it does really make quite a big difference with the results that you can get back and kind of the flexibility of what you can do with filters. In this example, just using this one alone, right now, if we were to run this filter, we would only get courses back that are missing a trainer and are missing a venue and have 1 or more resource requirements not met. And that's all because the all toggle is still in place. But if we switch it to be any, then the filter will now show us courses that are either missing a trainer or missing a venue or have 1 or more resource requirements not met. So of course that's going to be a lot more courses and probably a lot more useful. And of course you can use this in conjunction with other filters, so apply it alongside upcoming courses or all future courses or only available courses, that kind of thing. Can be a really good one.
Speaking of filter combos, this is a booked and paid on future courses filter, which only shows on courses that are in the future, that have a status of booked, where they have paid, and filtering our sessions. Rather than building very detailed filters that each has lots of conditions like this one, you could instead set up as individual filters and then apply these as combinations. This gives you more flexibility, as you can toggle each of them on and off. But disclaimer, it does mean you have more filters in your filters bar.
That's what my filters bar looks like. So if you do, like me, have a lot of filters in place, you can hide them away without having to delete them. You don't have to live with a very messy filters bar. So if you have a filters bar that looks a little bit like this is mine, or more, and you want to declutter it a little bit, it is really easy. So just each of your filters has a little X on the right hand side. If you just click on that, it doesn't delete the filter, it just tucks it away out of your filters bar into your other filters list, which you can get to from here. So just click the filters button and it'll be listed in there. And of course, just click on it to add it back into your filters bar at any time when you're ready to use it again.
The final tip today is about sharing your filters. If you've created a useful filter, don't forget that you can share it with your team. This applies to any new filter you create and you think is useful. But also, if you get a new member of staff, you can go through your data grids and share all of your filters to give them a great head start. This is how you share a filter. Start in the Delegates data grid, open the filters option and click Share Filters. From here, just select which filters you want to share and select who to share them with. And then click Copy. If any admins already have a filter with that name, you'll see a notification that the copy won't be possible for them. Just confirm that message to proceed with the others. Those admins will now have those filters available on their data grid.
Nice, that is everything from us today on must-have data grid filters. So we'll quickly recap. So first of all, we covered must-have filters on delegates. That included viewing all waiting list delegates where there are spaces available. We looked at delegates that were part of a transfer, delegates that needed their attendance marking. There were a few other bits of gold in there too. We looked at filtering your courses, and that included courses that are missing resources, sessional courses and their sessions, and courses that aren't making a high enough profit. We then looked at how you can filter your data grids to only see items where you were the last person to update them, or you were the person who created them. And then finally, we wrapped up with those top tips: all or any data grid filters, filter combos, sharing filters, and hiding away those infrequently used filters. So yeah.
So over to you. Do you have any questions for us? While we wait for any questions to come in, here are a couple of common questions we get asked about data grid filters. So can I delete a filter?
Yes, yeah, we do get asked this quite a bit because when you click the X, obviously it tucks it away into the other filters list. So yeah, absolutely, you can delete a filter. You just need to double click on it to get into that edit mode. And then the delete link is towards the bottom right-hand side. So just delete, confirm, and it's gone.
Okay. Why are my class course filters not automatically available in my web course data grid and vice versa?
We get this with delegate filters as well. Why aren't my class delegate filters available for my web delegate filters? Reason being is that they are completely separate modules. Your classroom courses and your webinar courses are they are separate. They've got their own list of like properties. So classroom obviously have things like venue information, whereas webinars have web joining instructions, that kind of thing. So while there's a lot of overlap, they are their very own data grids with their very own list of filters. So that's why the filters aren't automatically shared across.
Great. So another common question is, can admins change the filters after they've shared them?
Yes. So when you share your filters with another administrator, they essentially get a copy of it. The filter that they receive isn't synced up to your filter. So they can make changes to it. They can rename it, change the conditions, make their own, out of it without affecting your filter at all.
So in that case, can they rename it?
I know, I just answered the next question. Yeah, so you can rename filters. So same as deleting, double click to edit your filter, and then you just rename it at the bottom there. Same place where you set the name in the first place. But let's have a look, see if we've got any more. No, fabulous.
Thank you very much for taking the time to join the session today. We hope you have at least one filter you can take away to implement. If you'd like any support with creating and managing your DataGrid filters, please get in touch with us on the support desk or our support portal, or by calling our support line.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.